Welcome to One Million Cups Joplin. My name is J.D. Buckridge. I'm one of the organizers for 1 Million Cups here in Joplin, Missouri. If you are an organizer, could you please just wave your hand so everybody can see who you are? You are one of our organizers. If you look around the room, you see some people waving their hands. They're one of the organizing committee members here. We want to thank all of our presenting sponsors today for helping us make 1 Million Cups Joplin happen. So let me just tell you a little bit more about 1 Million Cups. We get the question often about why is it called 1 Million Cups and where did it come from? 1 Million Cups is the philanthropic effort of the Kansas City Royals family, the Kaufman family, the Kaufman Foundation. And 1 Million Cups stands for the fact that there are 1 million cups of coffee being had currently, 9 a.m. every time zone all across the country. There are over 150 chapters currently meeting this morning, and we're very excited to be one of those. And we are a ground floor chapter. As you can see, we continue to grow and develop, and we have a lot of different components that involves 1 Million Cups. Those components consist of our sponsors. We want to thank first and foremost the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce for helping with the logistics of making this happen every single morning. So Doug Hunt is here feverishly every single Wednesday helping set up along with some of our organizing committee. Let's give the Chamber a good hand for helping us make this happen this morning. Also, we want to thank Gina Gockley and the Joplin Public Library, who have been a tremendous support in helping us make this happen. Gina has been on the ground floor of 1 Million Cups for a few years. She was a contributing community member as well as a contributing presenter in the Springfield market. And she came to Joplin and said, you know what, I think I want to be a part of 1 Million Cups here, and we wanted to bring it to Joplin, Missouri. And she's been on the ground floor with us for quite some time. So thank you so much, Gina, and the Joplin Public Library. Also, Southwest Missouri Bank has been a tremendous sponsor for many of the entrepreneurial efforts happening right here in Joplin, Missouri. So we're very excited to have them on board. So thank you so much, Peggy and team, for being a part, as always. Also, we want to thank also Granny Schaefer's for the coffee this morning. So Mike Wiggins and Granny Schaefer's providing our coffee every single Wednesday morning, to keep us caffeinated while we make connections. So we're very grateful for Granny Schaefer's. Also, the Missouri Technology Corporation for assisting us with all the technology efforts that are provided throughout the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce through our entrepreneurial efforts and the things that take place on the entrepreneurial level. Without further ado, I'm very excited to introduce our presenter today. We only have one presenter today, so he's going to have a little bit of extra time today. And I can tell you, if you've gotten to know him, he is a very diverse individual with a lot of different brands and a lot of different things that are happening within who he is and a lot of different things happening with what he has happening with his various businesses. He is an entrepreneur, to say the least. He has a heart and a passion for entrepreneurship as well as the entrepreneur himself. He has a heart to mentor, develop, and give back. He is someone that has been a part of the greater Joplin community for the last almost 15 to 20 years in entrepreneurship, development, and many diverse efforts. He is a co-founder of Joplin's Third Thursday. He is the current president of the Joplin Area Chamber of Commerce, as well as the owner of Urban Cycling Apparel, Ozark Cycling Apparel, and Kona Tri Apparel. Please welcome this morning, Toby Teeter.
I'll make sure this is on. Is this on? Good. As a bald man, it didn't feel right to put on my head, so it felt weird. My name is Toby Teeter. Before being the chamber president, and since really, I've been a co-owner and co-founder of Urban Cycling Apparel. And I just wanted to share my story and explain the big transition that we're having at the company, and walk the community through it, and maybe ask you to help. I got the clicker. All right, so the origin story. After law school, I was a trial attorney and a lobbyist. And then after a couple of years, I transitioned to being a corporate attorney for a tech company. During that time, I founded an online marketing company called ValidClick in my spare bedroom in 1999. Fast forward a few years, in 2006, we went public. That company is now called Anuvo. It was based in Clearwater, Florida for a while, and now it's based in Little Rock, Arkansas. During that time, I met Eric Kissel down in Florida. He ran a division of our company. And after my time at Anuvo and after his time at Anuvo, we reconnected and agreed to acquire a company called Training Registry, LLC. So it's essentially a website. It's a comprehensive training resource directory where you can find training companies. It actually looked like this, still does. So we bought this website, That's pretty straightforward. You pay to be listed on the website. That's the business model. It's been around since the 90s. We bought it from a guy in Virginia or South Carolina, somewhere. Anyway, long story short is the business tanked. So after we bought the company, the organic traffic to this website just declined dramatically. The good news is that company had wholesale rights to sell real estate textbooks, both Dearborn and Encores, the two major brands. So every state there's a licensing system where realtors or would-be realtors study and take their state board exam, and we sold those textbooks. So instead of selling them on Training and Registry, we started selling them on Amazon. So starting about 2014, we started selling real estate textbooks as Mr. Big Deals on Amazon, and it worked. We went to about 50 or 60 or 70 different books. And then over the next 5 years, we started developing products and brands. So we had the opportunity to actually design what we call Zen bed tents. We designed ballet bars for girls and now women. We designed RFID wallets. We had a brand called Triple Z, we still do, Triple Z weighted blankets for autistic children, and that were featured on Good Morning America. We developed Victory Martial Arts brand for MMA equipment. We also worked with wholesalers and sold all kinds of nautical beach decor. We actually developed that brand and trademarked it, nautical beach decor. Not only did we sell raw shells on Amazon, but actually products made from them. We also partnered up with Music City Metals, the largest aftermarket company for selling grill parts. Over time, we became the master distributor and basically managing their Amazon account. So again, in Amazon selling terms, we did both private label, creating our own labels, and actually selling third-party products. Also during this time, I took a special interest in cycling apparel. At the time, living in Briarbrook, I was commuting, or trying to commute, into downtown Joplin. I was frustrated with the idea of actually wearing a spandex kit and then changing clothes and then working every day. Actually, Kyle's brother, Todd, and we talked about it every day, and the problem I wanted to solve was to build like everyday apparel for cyclists. So I wanted to develop shorts. I wanted to start out with shorts where you have secure pockets and you have a padded underliner where you can pretty much get by all day wearing this and no one notices. And so over time, we developed the shorts on the left in 5 different colors. We call them the pub crawler. And that same supplier, we worked with a supplier in Pakistan on this project. And the same supplier already made mountain bike shorts. So we kind of, as a throw-in, going, okay, and we'll also order some mountain bike shorts, and we kind of customized something that they already made. And we called it the single tracker. So we started out with these 2 shorts, and we also decided to tell our story on a Kickstarter project that was successful. This is probably in 2015 or so. So simultaneous to starting selling this product on Amazon, we also sold it on Kickstarter. Quickly, things transitioned to where we got to about 130 products. Over the course of the next 5 years, we started making not only mountain bike shorts, a very, very deep set of inventory for mountain bike shorts for men, women, and children. We also got into bibs, traditional cycling kits, mountain bike jerseys. We even got into components, including pedals and seats for bikes. And these are mountain bike jerseys for both the men's and women's cut, as well as short sleeve and long sleeve. Here's more examples. We just concentrate on kind of classic styles. We also, a year ago, developed commuter pants. These are slacks that come in 4 different colors. They're traditional U.S. sizing, so we're talking about 28 to 38 width and lengths. So when you do that kind of distribution of size across 4 colors, I think we're at 257 SKUs just for this one product. Really hard to manage inventory. What's special about these pants is, I should have worn one today, I wasn't thinking, is you roll up the cuff and it's a reflective panel, so there's a bunch of hidden James Bond stuff going on. There's 4 hidden pockets with zippers. There's a reflective panel on the belt loop in the back, and they're four-way stretch. They're actually just like this material here. And that's Coleman Scott, by the way, who is our warehouseman and former quarterback at Southern. We also have women's kits. This leopard print, we sold 1,200 of those in about 6 weeks last summer and sold out. We also developed a second brand for triathletes. I got into cycling as a triathlete. We developed Kona Tri-Apparel. We sell both men's and women's triathlon apparel, also children's triathlon apparel. Both tri-suits, which are these are one piece. We also sell tops and bottoms separately. About a year ago, we moved to 522 Virginia here in town, and we consolidated our warehouse. Essentially, this building is our pick and pack line for e-commerce. And then we also have what looks like retail, but actually is a showroom for bike shops and influencers. So people from mountain bike pros from Bentonville come up and we talk shop and we talk about co-labeling. And then eventually how this is set up, and the reason why it looks like that is we're going to do a YouTube series with that table and the brand as the backdrop. So what makes Urban and Kona brands different? Our goal is to get everybody on a bike, and to do so we manufacture premium cycling apparel for casual road, gravel, mountain bike, as well as Kona Tri-Apparel for athletes. We sell omni-channel, so just to be clear, we sell not only on our websites, but on Amazon, Walmart.com, eBay, Etsy, and Poshmark. We also sell our products on Amazon Mexico and Amazon Canada, and then also Amazon UK, which gives us distribution across continental Europe. We sell fresh classical cycling kits. Our tops and bottoms are essentially priced at $49 each, so you can get an entire kit for under $100. So you understand, our competitors at equivalent of quality sell for about $200 price point. So Urban is a value brand. We offer probably the largest selection of mountain bike shorts in the world. Our competitors might have 3 or 4 models. We have about 20 or 25 different styles to choose from. We build our cycling apparel from Italian fabrics, and our bib shorts are different. Essentially, there's 6 pockets that are kind of hidden. Again, a lot of utility in our styles. Both men's and women's have 6 different pockets, including hidden pockets in the thighs. And again, one thing that also makes us different is mountain biking apparel. We have a huge selection of children's apparel, and our competitors have not yet moved to that market. So the big changes are happening right now. So Eric and I decided to break up. We're still good friends, but we decided to break up Training Registry LLC. I formed a new company called Omni Brands. So essentially, this is about a 90-day-year-old company with a set of products with a 5-year history. Urban Cycling Apparel and Kona Triathlon Apparel are now part in Omni Brands. It's my half of the business, and the remaining activities that were on Amazon primarily are now stay with Training Registry, and Eric owns 100% of Training Registry. I simultaneously sold half of Omni Brands. So I'm back to being a co-owner, 50% owner of the apparel business. And then we just launched actually Kona Triathlon Apparel on its own website. We did sell it on urbancycling.com. This week we are launching Ozark Cycling Apparel and ozarkcycling.com. Again, Urban is a value brand. Ozark Cycling Apparel is going to be a little different. We're going to go very high-end, premium quality, premium attributes. We recently hired a controller inventory manager. She starts this coming Monday. We also hired a creative director to drastically ramp up our media side of our business. We're developing a lot of content, a lot of short films, and we're also going to work on the podcast and the broadcast. And this gentleman is also an avid cyclist, Brock Wagner, if anyone knows. He lives in Carthage. And he actually designed a lot of our Ozark Cycling Apparel itself, which I'll show you shortly. And we're opening a wholesale division. We're moving to new software that will support not only inventory management across all of our channels, but there's the ability to present wholesale pricing to our brick and mortar clients. We have just started selling our apparel through traditional means. Usually it's the opposite, but we're going from straight direct-to-consumer e-commerce and going into brick and mortar. The team is up to five or six of us. Ryan is the new co-owner. Brock Wagner is the creative director. Scott Coleman is our warehouse guy. Kyle Babbitt right here does our customer support. And Brandy's joining us next week as our controller. Again, we just launched Kona Triathlon Apparel on its own website. To those that don't know, Kona, Hawaii is where the World Championship Ironman is. Yes, we had a trademark battle with them, and yes, we won. And we're just now launching Ozark Cycling Apparel. This is going to be a very different brand. We're really excited about it. The customer persona is that mid-40s professional that's overworked, and he uses cycling not to escape from, to escape to be present. And somehow that really relates to me. I'm not sure what that's about. So here's the example of some of our styles. We are going a little different direction, very specific color palette. There's a lot of hidden hat tip things going on here. There's even like Joplin, Springfield, Bentonville, the names of towns in Ozark actually hidden in the elastic underneath. Men's and women's styles. But the big shift in cycling that is not represented up here, but is represented here, is towards everyday wear. Mountain bikers more and more, for instance, are wearing jerseys like this. So this is a cycling jersey. This is actually a competitor's. We're launching something very similar to this in about 90 days. We're having some delays with everything else going on in the world. But just to give you an idea how this works, this is a snap. This is three-way stretch. There's hidden pockets. There's actually some hidden reflective elements here, and then it has a long tail. Basically, the back's about an inch longer than normal. So this is actually a jersey. What's happening now is more and more people are going to mountain biking, and the excursion is an hour or two in the woods, followed by a beer or coffee, and you don't have to change clothes. So if you go to Bentonville, you'll see people dressed like this, and it's actually a cycling jersey. And we're going to do also some printed designs as well. We're working on 3. So our goal is to reach $10 million annual sales by 2024. We essentially just need to keep our current growth rate to achieve that goal, but there's a lot of challenges. And really, where we're stuck is we need a lot of things. One, I really want to tap our local importing logistics experts. I want to better understand how to more efficiently import items from our suppliers. I would say 15% of our products are from China, about 85% is actually from Pakistan. Our Pakistan partners have actually been to Joplin multiple times. I have not been there yet, but it's on my list. But there's a lot of challenges right now in logistics. It just feels like I'm not doing it right, and I have a whole new team now that I want to ramp up. And it's really good timing to start really figuring this out. Our expenses have probably doubled in the last year. We import 3 different ways. Door-to-door carrier is one option. Another way is sea cargo, and when you're in the Joplin market, what that means is you're putting product in a boat, and it ends up either in Long Beach or Houston or New York, and then it's rail or trucked into Kansas City or somewhere closer, and then it finally gets to your door here, and then you need a lift gate if you don't have a dock. Or the third option is the in-between, where you do essentially air cargo. And how our version of that is we have a freight forwarder in Tulsa. We're told that it landed, and we rent a U-Haul and go to Tulsa and grab it from the airport. And those are the kind of 3 ways you get product into Joplin, at least for apparel. We're also looking at inventory control. We're looking for inventory control professionals. We found a piece of software called TradeGecko that's now called QuickBooks Commerce because QuickBooks bought them. And it is an inventory management software that works across our channels. It works with Shopify, It works with Amazon and Walmart.com and etc. And we're getting ready to train up our staff in QuickBook Commerce. We're looking for other users in the area to talk to. Again, I'm always looking for people that are selling actively on Amazon and Walmart.com. There is an e-commerce meetup. We meets once a month that the chamber organizes. So that's kind of shaking the tree a little bit. But if anybody knows anybody that is active on Amazon or Walmart.com, please have them contact me. I'd love to coffee them up and share best practices. We're looking for a larger warehouse. We're out of room. We're actively looking for 20 to 40,000 square feet. I would prefer to purchase than rent, but I'm open to either. And we really need a line of credit against our inventory. Right now we're at about 400,000 in inventory. That changes dramatically month to month. Right now we're stocking up because of our busy seasons now through August. But that's an opportunity. This is a really hard business for local banks to understand because a lot of our inventory is actually on Amazon shelves. We fulfill from Joplin to consumers that buy our products on urbancycling.com, Ozark, and Kona. But Amazon does our fulfillment for Amazon sales. So we ship from Joplin into Amazon's warehousing system. So when you buy our product on Amazon, it's typically one-day shipping from a local warehouse that Amazon owns. We're always looking for influencers and brand ambassadors. Anybody that's big in the cycling world, let them know that we exist, especially if they're local. We'd love to hook them up with some apparel and help them tell our story. And we'll be looking for additional warehouse and fulfillment workers. And as always, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We do have a pretty big following on Instagram. We have about 11,000 followers. We're pretty active there. And again, now we have somebody that's really focused on a lot of video content. So it's getting a lot more fun to follow us. So that's the summation. So it's Omni Brands LLC is the company, but our brands are Urban, Ozark, and Kona, based right here in Joplin, Missouri. And I'm easy to get a hold of, but Toby at urbancycling.com gets to me. And looking forward to building this brand here in Joplin and networking with similar situated businesses or people that want to do e-commerce and grow. Any questions?
If you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand and we'll come to you with the microphone so we can pick up the audio on the Facebook Live today. Any questions for Toby today? Yes?
So, of course, Northwest Arkansas is known as the mountain biking capital of the world, and I'm sure you and your team have talked about establishing some kind of a presence there, and if so, what's your plan on that?
So we've developed relationships with a couple of professionals that have recently moved to Bentonville that are famous. They're kind of like the Tony Hawk of mountain biking. And we've gone pretty far in ways to do business development. Opportunities to essentially put their name and their logo on our apparel and co-op it. So those kind of things are in existence. The other thing that we see, there's a movement happening. My background's online media. And what's happening in commerce in general and retail is moving toward merging. There's a merger of media and storytelling. It's actually the same thing that happened in the 1950s when major brands actually developed TV shows. So they weren't just the advertiser, they actually created the TV show. So back in the early 50s, in the earliest days of TV, it would be like Clorox Presents. Well, actually Clorox produced that product. Well, that's happening again. So cycling, for instance, is a situation where an opportunity where we actually can develop 21st century storytelling, where we can develop a whole portfolio of podcasts that cover and touch gravel cycling, mountain bike cycling, and basically self-promote our brand, but in a very passive way, and align ourselves. And that opportunity is huge in Bentonville. The opportunity of all that brains and the industry flowing into Bentonville and now our way is an opportunity to, at the very least, create the content, audio and visual. So those kind of opportunities. We do not want to get into brick and mortar. We don't want to set up a shop. We kind of let people walk in our door here. It happens pretty much every day now. People know that we exist, so people walk in and we let them just kind of peruse. And we got to the point where we actually created a changing room. And so, but that's not the intent. So we're direct to consumer online. But the other opportunity to work with Bentonville is a lot of the industry conferences that used to be at Vegas are now in Bentonville. That's how big it's getting now. And also have an exit opportunity in Bentonville. There's a couple gentlemen in their late 30s, their last name is Walton. And they've been buying cycling companies and cycling apparel companies. Rafa is a company based out of London, and they bought that company for $275 million. And we had more profit than them, so not as much sales, but we're more profitable.
Any more questions for Toby?
Yep.
Or comments?
Toby, I saw on one of your slides, it says your goal is to get everybody on a bike. As somebody who has a bike currently collecting dust in my garage, can you help connect the dots for me about the biking apparel, getting
Sure.
everybody on a bike?
Yep. Yeah, so one of the issues about, so as far as access to the sport, the issues are many. One is cost. We want to remove the prohibitive cost. There is cycling apparel that are equivalent to ours in quality that cost $800. And I want people to walk into a bike shop and see a $299 kit and think that's not for them or they can't do it. We sell really good apparel for $49 jerseys and $49 shorts. We also have a size distribution from extra small to 4XL. Again, that's something that our competitors don't do. Another access point is we have men's and women's apparel, full line. And then we have children's apparel, both on the triathlon side and cycling side. So we want a really easy entry point. So that is the idea, and also different styles, and then this new stuff that people way are more comfortable with. And so we're trying to kind of push those edges. To be honest with you, everyone in the industry has a mission to get people on a bike, but ours is a little more authentic than the guy selling the $800 jersey. So.
Very good. Yes.
Hi, Toby. So my question for you is what you're already doing in the way of marketing, because I don't think I really heard, like I heard you say we're moving toward this, we're hiring these people, this is our creative director.
That's a good question.
I have two questions. Actually, I've got another one too. After you answer that one, will you talk about how you're getting the message out about why you might need a hidden pocket, how your reflectors work? Like, I'm not a cyclist, I don't understand how those things are, coming together.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So a lot of people in e-commerce doing direct consumer stuff, the product is just the commodity, and really the business is that funnel. It is the ability to generate traffic to a product page and getting a certain conversion rate where so much ad spend equals so much gross profit. And really, if you strip everything down in e-commerce, everyone's doing the exact same game. So how we do it is we spend marketing dollars in paid media where we actually buy product placement on Amazon. So there's a whole ecosystem on Amazon where people buy sponsor listings. The opportunity where people type in mountain bike shorts and be listed first, second, or third. That is a sponsorship opportunity where you pay per click to be exposed there. We also have drastically advanced in Google and Google Shopping. So that's just old school, the last 20 years, pay-per-click, where people are searching products, words, or images on Google. We also have a very robust ad campaign on Facebook and Instagram. We can target mountain bike. We can actually target demographics and break people out between road and mountain biking, men and women. We can also target, there's a national organization for youth mountain biking, and we can target people that follow that institute and that organization, assuming those people have children that are cycling. And my new partner, Ryan, used to work for me 20 years ago, and our background's online media and online ads, so we're really good at that end. The part that we had to figure out along the way is logistics, apparel design, and e-commerce in general. But we were really good at actually driving traffic to product pages. We typically, though, we didn't own the product page. We were doing it for clients. So now there's like this funnel. To really like break this down at like a $49 price point for a jersey, our cost of that product is around $14. We spend what used to be $2 a product, we're probably spending $4 a product just to get it here from overseas. And so then you start seeing what a gross margin is just in that product. And then the game again is, can we create and generate a sell at $5, $10, or even $15 of ad spend? And then you start seeing that margin shrink. And then the other part of this is, how do you get the cart bigger? So right now our average cart is around $80. We're trying to get it to over $100. There's ways there where you can try to, we have, Shopify has applications that helps you stretch that out. You can suggest products. So as you're checking out and you're with a mountain bike shirt, we can show you mountain bike pedals. You know, hey, 10% off today if you actually add this to your cart. So we're trying to bump the cart up because we already spent the money to get them to the finish line. And so there's all these games that really, again, are commodity agnostic, and everyone involved in e-commerce are talking about those pieces. And that's what we do at an e-commerce meetup, by the way, another plug. But I crave finding my counterparts in this community, and it's magic when we find each other and be able to talk through these things, because we want to build that culture. But those pieces, how you drive traffic, email campaigns is very, very critical. How you manage social media, how do you blur fun content with just blatant product placement. So those kind of strategies are really interesting. But really, those are the components. It's pay-per-click, both Google, Amazon, Walmart now has a platform. Even Etsy and Poshmark, you can throw $5, $10, $20 a day or a week or a month to increase sales. We actually sell our product on Poshmark. That was a COVID project where we started just putting our product on Poshmark. Poshmark is typically used clothing, but you also can check a box saying new in still in bag, still tagged. Again, it's a first mover thing. People look for cycling apparel. There's not a whole lot of options, and then you see our entire product line on there. So Etsy, we have most of our products actually handmade. I don't hand make it, but again, it qualifies to be on Etsy. It's another box we check saying it's handmade by our partner. So we sell a lot of our product on Etsy as well. As a channel, at one point we sold 96% of our product on Amazon, and that is a risk. We live and die with Amazon. Amazon's notorious for turning accounts off for like no reason. Amazon, you can do tens of millions of dollars on Amazon and not talk to a human being or have a human being as a contact. And also when they cut you off, you can also say goodbye to $1 million of inventory that's sitting on their shelves. There's a lot of horror stories about Amazon over the years. They're getting a little bit better, but one of our key things we want to do is diversify off Amazon. At this point, Amazon is only about 50% of our sales. And we really built out traffic to urbancycling.com, and we'll do the same with our other two brands as we just now developed those websites.
So you talk a little bit about, you mentioned culture and getting everyone on a cycle. And I know one of your passions is creating awareness. For guys like me, I called you a few weeks ago and said, I know nothing about biking at all. Where would you start me? I know you're part of the Joplin Slow Roll.
Yeah.
You're connecting community and professionals to something that's really fun to also connect back to their community in a better light. So can you talk a little bit about how you get people involved? What's the process? Someone that has no idea, they don't even own a bike, where would they start?
You bet. So cycling is drastically on the rise. COVID, it was exponential growth for cycling. The downside of that is the inventory for bicycles is almost zero. It's really hard to find a bicycle. In fact, if you want to buy a new bicycle, it's like an 18-month wait for it to arrive. So the aftermarket is where you go to get a bike or borrow a bike. There's a lot of bikes in garages. Why it's important. So one, if you look at the demographics of 20 and 30-somethings who are actually trying to attract and retain in this market, cycling is a very high priority for them. Commuting on a bike is in walkable streets. Really, all the things that were important oddly enough, in 1902 in Joplin, is becoming important again. More and more young professionals are flocking to cities that prioritize trails and connectivity, and the opportunity to do active lifestyle transportation. And that's a passion of mine as well. I'm part of the transportation study in Joplin that's about to present a whole host of opportunities to enhance active transportation in our market. And another opportunity to get involved is Joplin Slow Roll. Why we do Joplin Slow Roll is we want a way where people can just dress in street clothing. We do casual bike rides in groups. It's not for cyclists, it's for people on bikes. A cyclist is a guy in spandex that you see going really fast in a country road. People on bikes are you and me just getting on that bike that's been dusted off in the corner of your garage. And Joplin Slow Roll is about twice a month, a group of people, open to anybody. We simply just get on a bike in downtown Joplin and it's a route. We go to A to B to C to D. Sometimes it takes the form of a pub crawl, sometimes it's a coffee crawl, sometimes it's just an out back, like last time we did Woody's Pizza and back. Sometimes it's 20 people, sometimes it's 60 people. But the magic happens because we're introducing people to new venues, and also you see your city in a different way. It's really hard to explain, but when you take a bike for the first time through downtown Joplin, it's like a total different point of view. So the magic happens. We had a coffee crawl where we hit all the coffee shops you can think of in our central corridor, and I was amazed what percentage of the people on this bike ride have never even walked into Beer Lady or Zinc. And so again, it's an opportunity to explore your city and to rediscover it. So that's ways of how we use it for economic development, and also it's a really important a town attraction tool. And we're actually tacking on to our amenities. If you haven't checked out the Ruby Jack, we have world-class gravel bike trail that goes from Carl Junction to Carthage. And then our Frisco Trail system, which actually starts right behind us, it's a few blocks down the hill here, goes all the way into Webb City, and the next stage is to go all the way up to Oronogo and connect to the Ruby Jack. So basically Jasper County will be connected by a trail that's essentially a T. Carl Junction, Oronogo, Carthage, Oronogo, Webb City, Joplin. And there's actually a bigger vision, another room happening where people are talking about taking the Arkansas Greenway, that currently is their backbone from Fayetteville to Bella Vista, and bringing it all the way to Joplin. And that would be a paved trail system that would be multi-state. And if you look at 10, 20 years down the road, it's an opportunity where Joplin would be a hub and those would be spokes. There's an entire system in Kansas, and there's an entire system in mid-Missouri, the Katy Trail system. And there's abandoned rail lines where all roads lead to Joplin again. And that's a scenario where people from Europe would fly into Joplin and bike for weeks and explore mid-America. So, yeah.
So the problem that I have with it, I live in Seneca, and I jump on a bike, I'm going to ride through town, it's terrifying. How do you, I know in Joplin you're working on city ordinances and making changes to make cycling more safe, more acceptable, making the roads more friendly, but how do you scale that, especially into smaller communities? How do you educate city council members, city managers? How do you educate the citizens of the community how to treat cyclists on the road and make it safer? If you want to put everybody on a bike, how do you scale the education you're going through here in Joplin?
That's a great question. So there's a national movement on these things. People on Bikes is a nonprofit that's that focus to advocate and educate. You can score your city on the system, and you can track the changes that are happening in your community and kind of put it on the map, and then use that scorecard to educate your city councils. The big movement right now, so cycling was just road cycling until 10 years ago, really. If you think of cyclists, almost everyone were roadies. And it is scary, and I've had some near-death experiences myself. There's nothing like being on a country road and having a semi graze you. And there's actually been, I say every other year, there's a death in Joplin of a cyclist. The big growth in cycling is in gravel and mountain biking. And more communities have these greenway trail systems or gravel version of it, like the Frisco. So there's more and more opportunities to do safe group rides with your family. So it's getting more family friendly. It's easier to get involved. Also, cities are transforming their grid. if you're a futurist and you understand where transportation systems are heading, what's happening is it's going to be a drastic change. 20 years from now, believe it or not, there's going to be about 1/10 of the cars that exist now. And our major car brands know this, and they're transitioning their business models. But essentially, if you think about it, 98% of the time, your car is not doing anything. So in the future, when you're looking at autonomous vehicles, we're all going to share a very small inventory of cars. It's going to be more efficient for us to essentially hit a button on the app, and the robot car comes to us and takes us to the next place. And that car will be going around picking up people. And that car will probably be owned by GM, Toyota, Tesla. So that's the future, fewer cars. So then what happens? All of a sudden we have this concrete jungle that is Joplin, and every community has the same problem. We have oversized roads. In fact, well, I'll get it's another rant, but what we're talking about is actually changing what a road is. And this is already happening in Europe. You know, COVID in Paris went 3 lanes car, 1 lane bike. Now Paris is 3 lanes bike, 1 lane car. And that is happening in our biggest cities. Austin's totally doing a $400 million transformation of its entire grid, bike first. And you're going to see that progression go. Besides autonomous vehicles, that's really going to free up active transportation. Anything 2 miles or less, the default will be some sort of shared vehicle or dedicated vehicle, electric, could be an electric bike, scooter, and so on. And again, you're seeing that in the larger markets. So our society is changing. There's going to be more density. And so a lot of bike lanes, protected bike lanes is the biggest thing now to create that safety. Once you put bollards and actually take a bike lane and make it a protected bike lane, the use goes up 10x. There's all this data, so it's crazy, it's like magic. So there's Joplin bike lanes, but no one uses them. But all of a sudden, when you build a bike lane that connects and unlocks neighborhoods to employment, to shopping, and then you put the bollards up, and all of a sudden people just relax because you have this kind of wall, and it's an emotional change, and all of a sudden everyone starts using the bike infrastructure of the community.
Any feedback for Toby? I know some of you might have some things you might be able to give some specific feedback as it relates to our community. This is a new thing, and I implore you, I've known you a long time, and I think this is amazing and something we need here. I think some of you may have some thoughts about that. What are some things that maybe Toby and his team could do to contribute back to the greater area that's going to help his business, if you have any thoughts on that?
What kind of bike events would... I bet half the room is like, kind of curious about cycling, or it's on my list of to do someday, maybe this summer. But what would get you on a bike? What bike event or community opportunities would get you comfortable? Another example of this, and this is bad timing because the half marathon is about to happen. Some communities take their half marathon or marathon course that's it's actually totally closed, and have a quick little bike event right before it starts. When you have a 13-mile path cleared off with support, the opportunity for really first-timers to get out and ride a bike, it's a really interesting opportunity to do that. There's actually a bike ride in Boston right before the Boston Marathon where people bike from the start to the finish, back to the start before the Kenyans kick it off.
One specific one I think of, Toby, is Third Thursday. Obviously, as you mentioned, getting families out on bikes. What we don't have at a Third Thursday culture right now is whole families in bikes up and down the roadways. I don't know if there's a way.
Bike-ins to the event. Yeah.
Yes, it would be cool if there would be a way to, you're talking about segmenting lanes, because right now it's so convoluted with people. Is there a way to partner with the city to say, this is bike area, so families can bike all throughout downtown that evening? That would be just one thought maybe we could work on.
Yeah, so American Ram Company did something like that once. They sectioned off one block and created a little mountain bike track for youth. But yeah, it's a good idea.
Toby, I think one of the problems for beginners is they don't know what bike, they don't know the basics, they don't know where they can ride. So some primary 101 class or online series or something to help people understand. Because I rode bikes for years, but that's back years ago.
Yeah.
And I don't have a bike in the garage. If I wanted to go buy a bike today, I wouldn't have a clue what bike would fit me best for what I want to accomplish.
That question's been asked twice this morning to me before we started. I want to do this, but where do I start? That's actually a really good idea. Maybe we need to spend more time. Probably a majority of the purchases of our apparel are new cyclists. And so instead of building content around the apparel and the attributes, maybe we just need to do Bicycle 101, whether it be how to get a bike, where to get a bike, how to maintain your bike, how to change your tire, and focus on that content and build that community and educate, and then they'll come they'll support the brand. Yep. Thank you.
So an idea I have, it's not an event, but more of a marketing focus. So when I was in grad school, our capstone project built a business, an idea. We were trying to become the Starbucks of tea. So we were going to build a chain of tea shops. We did a lot of research on what people were looking for. And you hit on it some, as biking is a release from stress. What we discovered was the same thing, that generally people are wildly stressed out. And so in our marketing presence, we leveraged the ritual of tea. So making the tea and enjoying the tea and focusing on the release and the stress release there. And that was in our branding and our image. And that was way more interesting to people in tea. And so from a biking perspective, if you're going to be building out that brand and that image, I think that's definitely worth digging into.
Yep.
Teaching people how to find release.
So that is Ozark. I mean, I know exactly how we're going to. I mean, the 60-second intro is that, just the chaos of a life, and then the zen of cycling. There is magic to cycling. If you're a distance runner, it's similar to that high where you just kind of get in the zone, and your head clears. It's magic, and to be honest with you, I've probably ridden 20 miles in the last year. That's it. I mean, I've been. It's something I need to get back to and find a way to budget back into my schedule. But that it's right center for sure.
I have a question, kind of going back to the economic accessibility that we talked about before. So it seems like the lifestyle of cycling, at least kind of what I've been exposed to, is like it's a commitment. Meaning you got to buy the bikes and the clothes and the stuff, and you got to know what you're doing. So if you've got a bunch of kids and you think it could just be a fun thing, maybe this already exists. But for some of these events that are more casual, can you go and like rent a bike, or are there ways you can try it out, or like donation programs where other people can cycle, and that way you don't have to make the massive mental and financial commitment just to have a little bit of fun?
One, there's a lot of people that have a stable of bikes. I have like 14, and I'm very generous. So anybody who wants to borrow a bike for any event, or if you want to come to a slow roll, I can at least get 4 or 5 bikes in my car. I have a big rig. So you picked up on a couple things. I'm really passionate about a project that is happening in Northwest Arkansas, and I've been trying to bring it to Joplin for 2 years, and we're missing one piece. I should probably mention it, because maybe this room can help out. And it's partly that. There is a program in Northwest Arkansas called Pedal It Forward. It's an opportunity where people donate used bikes, or there's a whole drive where local churches will just donate used bikes to a central repository a warehouse, and then volunteer and professional mechanics refurbish these sites and make them usable for everyday use. And then they give them away back into the community, primarily to people that don't have a car. 70% of low-income households in Joplin don't have a car. In fact, the biggest prohibitors of people not entering our job market is childcare and transportation. And there is a huge need in Joplin to get people on bikes so they can get a job. There are people in this town, there are hundreds of people, maybe thousands of people in this town that are employed in a walkable distance of the house, because that's their only option. And simply having a bike opens the door to you getting to the industrial park, where they can get $22 an hour jobs instead of 12. And so we have professional mechanics in this market, and we have all kinds of community support, but we don't have a warehouse. We're trying to find a warehouse, and we don't have any money for rent. So we've been working for 2 years where the Chamber Foundation would actually do a tax credit letter to an owner of a warehouse in lieu of rent, so at least there'll be a tax deduction. And then every Saturday morning, volunteers would come in and play tunes and have fun and chill for 3 or 4 hours and just build bikes. Kyle here would do that in a heartbeat. That's his dream, is to hang out and build bikes. And there's a huge people like raise their hand like, I want to be part of that. We have licensed pellet board brand and systems and inventory controls. They've actually built all this out. All we need is a warehouse, and that would bring potentially thousands of bikes into our market and feed the low-income entry to cycling. And really, that again, the purpose of that is primary transportation for adults.
Well, and it's not just adults, Toby. It's, through my work with Bright Futures, we have lots and lots of older high school students who depend on bicycles to get back and forth to school and back and forth to their part-time jobs. And when they lose transportation or they might be couch surfing, we've been able to just on individual basis provide them with a bike, provide them with somebody like Kyle that can get the bike working for them, and then they can continue to get to their job and hopefully graduate, which is the whole purpose, well, not the whole purpose, but one of the main purposes of Bright Future. So, I think you've really hit on something, and I'd be very interested. I know that the bikes for the kindergartners, is that part of Pedal It Forward, or is that
No, that was a separate program. So another initiative that the Chamber was involved in heavily was nowadays, I'm a child of the 70s and 80s. We all rode our bikes to get everywhere. But that's not how it works anymore. There's a stat where the average, only 10% of 6th graders know how to ride a bike. It's not even a thing anymore. And so there's a national program that we brought to Joplin. Help me.
All Kids Bike.
All Kids Bike. And what we did is we helped raise, and we got community members, the business community came together, and we raised, I think, $33,000 to bring a fleet of Strider bikes to all 11 elementary schools in Joplin. So what's happening in Joplin, no other city's doing this at this scale in the entire United States, is part of your kindergarten curriculum is to learn how to ride a bike. And we have Strider bikes. Strider bikes are these mini bikes where they start where they're push, and then the next step you actually have the pedals. And over a course of 8 weeks, it teaches children how to ride a bike. Every single person in public schools in Joplin going forward will learn how to ride a bike when they're 6 years old. So again, we're building the culture, we're feeding the pipe, and promoting active lifestyles. So we're talking about about 100 bikes happening, and we just finished. This is the very first semester they activated those bikes. Because of COVID, we had to raise even more money to put a hairnet system for anti-COVID measures, because there's a helmet that comes with the bike. You have to wear the helmet to bike. So anyway, really exciting project. But yeah, on the other end, Bright Futures, that'd be a perfect example of a use, a need.
Toby, so when I was growing up, I was more into biking, but my friends were skaters, and that was early '90s, late '80s also. But anyway, I never really could skate, but I loved that world. So I was in the skating world, although I never skated. And so now my kids, they're all either teenagers or preteens. They like the idea of skateboarding. They like the idea of that, but we're just not designed to skate. You know what I mean? And but they started seeing videos of people longboarding. So so I got my girls longboard. I have 3 girls. Got them all longboards. They love them. They do nothing but ride 6 blocks away and come back. I mean, they don't do tricks. They don't do anything like that. So my point is I don't know if there's a way for, like when you were talking about your media and stuff earlier, to kind of go out, like specifically like my 3 girls, but I'm sure there's boys like this too. But if there was a way that you could make it, I I guess the best way to state it would be make it cool to, just because that's the draw to the longboard is that it's cool to ride a longboard.
Are you saying that's not cool?
That is very cool. Actually, I'm very impressed with that. And being in, apparel somewhat myself, I really like that a lot. And I think that could go right along with the media stuff.
So mountain biking's picked up on those skating cues. It is a culture. It is very cool. It's like the new skater. So more and more communities have mountain bike parks. Neosho has an amazing mountain bike park. You need to check it out. It's the closest one, and we're trying to bring something like that to Joplin as well. But mountain biking is cool, and it's a thing, and it's growing. It's just a matter of having that amenity. It's really hard to build a mountain bike trail as a group of kids. Kids can actually kind of create a little skating trick in your yard. But yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Thanks for sharing all this, Toby. And I had a quick question. If you wouldn't mind sharing what other, on that topic of amenities, what amenities you're seeing or you've seen traveling to maybe Northwest Arkansas that employers have implemented at their sites.
Yeah.
And maybe something that you would think would work here in the Joplin area.
Yeah, so the biggest issue we have as a community is our labor shortage. And really it's a matter of talent retention and attraction. More advanced communities than us have really changed how fun it is to creating a fun work environment. There's a transformation happening having to do with changing out food, presenting healthy food to your employees, and actually going as far as actually having indoor bike racks and a shower, and the opportunity to actually introduce active lifestyle in the workday. Like, that is part of the culture where there are actually companies, not in the cycling industry, there's companies that actually will, 11 o'clock on Fridays is a mountain bike ride. And we all meet at the end with a sandwich and we talk about life, and you're not allowed to talk about work. Those are the things that are happening and building that into the culture, and they're actually building amenities actually in the workplace. Bentonville has a bikeable building under construction. I don't know if anyone's seen it yet. It's a 6-story building where a bike trail goes up the building on the exterior of it to the 6th floor. And you can bike right into your office. That's an extreme example. Really extreme example. But yeah, bike culture and active lifestyle in general is becoming a higher priority. And as companies are competing for talent, it's not a stretch anymore to start changing what an employee benefit is beyond a health plan, and actually really hug and love their employees and champion them. And so these amenities are starting to kind of creep up into corporate life.
Awesome. We're going to go ahead and conclude there with Toby's presentation and open forum Q&A. We want to encourage you to stick around. So I know a lot of you would love to have a one-on-one conversation a little bit more about one of the 3 brands, maybe how you can get involved. Bankers, I think it's open opportunity today because he's asked you specifically for some things that he needs help with. So please feel free to stick around. We want to encourage you to get coffee and connect today. Let's get caffeinated. Let's make some connections. Let's continue to build Joplin's and coffee. Thank you so much. Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. Thank you very much. We do have some giveaways. So I've got a 1 million cups coffee mug. Where is the? I need the box with the tickets. Did we do that this morning?
No. We didn't do tickets.
We didn't do tickets.
No, we're doing it on purpose. It's not a mistake. So is anyone here for the first time today? Raise your hand. You get a mug.
I have no. Okay, there we go.
Who else was here for the first time?
All right, we've got a 1 million cups coffee tumbler. Here we go. And I've got one more 1 million cups of coffee tumbler. First time. Who's your first? Jay Jones. There you go. And from Southwest Missouri Bank. This is really cool.
Did anyone bring someone with them today? No? Is there another first timer? Okay, I guess we're just gonna keep it moving.
Oh. We do want to thank Peggy and Southwest Missouri Bank for allowing us to have this. We will give this away next week if that's okay. So.
Or you can give it to Toby as the presenter.
You know what? If that's okay with you. So Peggy says you can take away the cutting board today from Southwest Missouri Bank.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
I'll bring more next week.
Awesome. Very cool. let's stick around. We're going to hang out. We're going to have coffee. We're going to get connected, and let's get to your better job as economy. Thank you.